What is going on, everybody? How are we doing today? How's everybody enjoying their Friday? I gotta tell you, it rained a lot last night, and it is humid as all get out today. But we're dealing with it. But we are back again. This is United versus Everybody. This is your first time here. I am your host, Sean. So welcome back to the channel. If you're a returning user, if you're a UVE community member, subscriber, welcome to for the first time. If you're brand new, we are here to chat anything and anything United related on this Man United News Roundup. If you guys have been following along, we do the news roundups when there's news to discuss. You guys know I don't like rehashing the same stuff over and over again. So today we got a little bit to talk about. I want your thoughts. We're talking rumors, transfer news, preseason, press conference, all that stuff today. So want your thoughts on all that. Make sure you're liking the video, you guys. Make sure you subscribe to the channel. Like I said, we are on the road to 3K. I think we can get there. If we do get there, as promised, before United kicks a ball this season, the first match of the Premier League season, I will do a giveaway. Brand new 25-26 shirt of your choice. Name, number, patches. Not that there's any really patches to put on there. But the winner will get that, and I'll ship it straight to you from the United store. So the best way to do that, though, is keep liking, keep sharing, keep subscribing, keep spreading the news, all that stuff. And then, of course, make sure you hit that notification bell so you don't forget about anything that's coming up. Check those memberships, too. You guys want to get more involved in the content we put out on the channel as well. That's the best way to do it. Check the links in the description. There's an excellent code in there for GoGoalShop where I get some of my jerseys. You guys can use that code to get $5 off when you register. Also, check the links in there for exclusive videos. There's below the video player, you guys will see some sample shirts in there from the United vs. Everybody store. Go check that out too. You'll see the classic green and gold. That was the OG shirt in the UVE store. There's the class of 92 shirt that I designed for this channel too. Dylan's got that in a hoodie. He absolutely loves it. And then there's the brand new Mbeumo shirt in there. Go check that out as well. Let's go check out what you guys are doing. As always, you guys know I go check out the chat. So let's get stuck in. I'm going to start with my job, getting involved in the chat, making sure you guys get your opinions heard, because that is what we're all about on this channel, you guys. Let's get stuck in. Lucky, welcome back, Lucky. Anthony Santos wants to go to Spain. Of course he does. He wants to go back to Real Betis. Real Betis want him, but they want to sit there on the corner with their hat in hand, pleading poverty. Even though we know that they've sold a couple players for some decent money, they have the money. Anthony, if he wants to go to Spain, lower your wages. If Betis want to bring him, pay up. It's really not that hard. Like, it's not rocket science. But welcome back, Lucky. Hopefully you're doing well, having a good day. Danny B, my brother from another mother in the Irish department and the SAS, the South American Scout. Hope you're doing well, my friend. Danny says, F no. Look at his injury record. Yes, I did put a fun little question and poll in the chat today. It was a question, so I popped up on Tactical Devils yesterday when he went live. Big up Jarvis on Tactical Devils. You guys go check out that channel sometime. I posted the question in the chat just because it just popped up to me as people were talking about Alexander Isak, maybe potentially reportedly wanting to leave. And I asked the question, like, had this happened at the end of May or like early June, before we had gotten the Cunha deal, before we had gotten the Mbeumo deal, considering how much money we had to work with and how much money Isak's going to cost and our need for a striker, would people have not would they have sacrificed the Cunha and Mbeumo signings to get Isak if that had happened earlier? So nothing really has to do with anything United. Obviously, it's just a ridiculous kind of notion, but it was a fun little question to think about in terms of where people's priorities. Big up, recap. Hope you're doing well, my friend. It has been a long time. Let me know how you've been, dude. But big up. Welcome back, man. Lucky says, Anthony agent will now talk to getting moved. Sociedad or Atletico Madrid. Yeah, I think Spain is definitely his level. I don't know if he's quite the level for Atletico Madrid, though. Lucky, I think Sociedad for sure. Do they still have Kubo? Did Kubo end up leaving at all? I know Oyarzabal kind of plays as a striker these days. Remember, Januzaj went to Sociedad for a little while. You guys remember Januzaj? Are you guys old enough to remember Januzaj? What is that poll up to so far? So far, 4 votes. 100% of you say no, you would not have taken Isak instead of Cunha and Mbeumo. So I like the way you think. So let's dive in with a little bit of news. So obviously we had a press conference today ahead of tomorrow's match against West Ham. And our new number 10, Cunha, I mean, he's had a little bit to say. This guy was a United player before he even signed for us, for sure. Let's check out what he had to say. He said, "I've always watched United on television. It's my dream club, a club that should be fighting for the title. I understand the current situation, but when I met Ruben, I felt that they were building something at the club, and I wanted to be part of it." My guy, that's what we wanted, man. That's what, like I've said, it's not just about Champions League for some players. It's not just about wages for some players. Sometimes, in Mbeumo, pretty much the same thing. It's looking at who we have manager-wise, looking at what the plans are behind the scenes, because that when it comes to negotiations and things with agents and players, they're hearing some stuff that we don't hear in terms of what our plans are, maybe what some of these targets are, maybe the ambition and everything. Amorim is maybe a little bit involved in that regard as well. So there's reasons for that kind of stuff. So I really like that from Cunha. What else did he have to say? This was the big one too. The pressure at this club isn't pressure. It's a privilege. He gets it. Like, he gets it. He gets what it is to be a United player through and through. Like, he just gets it. And quite frankly, I'm here for it. That's exactly what we want from our players. We want our players to look at that as a privilege, as a challenge, as something that you should be proud to take on, when it comes to putting on that shirt, putting that badge. There's a reason these badges go right over your heart. I mean, scientifically, no, but you know what I mean? Because that's part of it. And so I like what I see. Big up, Debasi. Good to see you again. I'm late like Rashford. Well, you're late like a Casemiro 2-footer. That's what you are. Pick up, Debasi. Better late than never. So I'm happy with Cunha. I think he and Mbeumo really get what this is about. Even Diego Leon, remember what Diego Leon was saying when he was officially announced. People think I'm here to kind of go into the resis, go on loan. He's like, no, I'm here to fight for a first team spot. And I really like that attitude. It used to be that way at United. You get here and you challenge yourself to take your game to new levels. You looked at the people around you in the dressing room and you said, that's the level I have to get to. Nowadays, it's just, I've signed for United. That was the goal. That was it. Hard work is done now. Or I've got the new contract, the hard work's done. Not, I've got the new contract, now I've got to earn it. Nor I've signed for United, now I've got to raise my game and, show the badge, the fans, the club respect. No, people don't do that anymore. And so it's like he says, we want players embrace United shirts. See that? Yes, I agree, Lucky. Big up, man. Absolutely, that's what we want. So, Diego Leon, yes, dude has to fight with all that physicality. Yeah, the dude is a straight up physical beast for an 18. He believes his kid's 18. He's an absolute monster. So I really like that from Cunha personally. Speaking of press conferences, though, I see United fans are already it's like they were waiting for like the last month to just start complaining about something again with Amorim, because they're already raging about some of Amorim's comments today in this presser ahead of tomorrow's friendly. And I know the stuff that I see everybody complaining about, calling Shaw world class, being happy with the players he has, the squad he has if we don't sign anybody, welcoming back, Garnacho, Sancho, Antony if the club doesn't get the right price they want for them, et cetera, et cetera. People raging. I mean, I don't really know what people think managers are supposed to say. I'll never understand why fans think managers are just supposed to come out and just throw players under the bus. Like, what is he supposed to say? Nah, these guys are all shit. I don't want him back. Shaw? No, I don't even count Shaw as a footballer anymore. Why would I care about Shaw? Like, I don't know what people think he's supposed to do. This is people who take manager comments and pressers this seriously. It's like they're their first time. There's a very big United content creator who tweeted about this earlier in terms of just complaining about, Amorim's doing the same thing Ten Hag did. And I'm like, is this your first press conference, like, ever? Like, seriously? It's ridiculous, man. Like, and the only point these people do is they feed off the fan negativity, the fan outrage. And so even if they believe it or not, they'll still just say these things, tweet these things, put content out about these things, just to whip fans into a frenzy, just to keep the negativity going, because that's what's going to get more clicks and views. It's just getting people all ragey so they can just keep looking at things. It's ridiculous, man. So, but it is what it is. I don't judge. I just think it is what it is. I can't expect managers to come out and just trash players unless you're Jose Mourinho. But because what's that going to do? Let's say hypothetically Amorim did come out and say, no, Shaw's shit. I don't want Sancho, Antony, Garnacho. I don't want him here. Like, let's say he does say that and fans are like, awesome, cool, tells it like it is, get him out. Like, that doesn't help us at all. That only hurts our position when it's time to sell these players, because now other clubs know that, like, they don't need to try to negotiate. They just need to wait us out, basically, which also means less incoming fees for these players, which means less available funds to strengthen our squad, which means less likelihood of, more points than we would have. Like, people need to think a little more long term when it comes to these things. People need to widen the lens. People just need to be a little realistic. I'm more interested when it comes to this press conference in his comments, like, about Mbeumo, like where he can play on the pitch, his versatility. He actually also said, he's going to work on his pace a little bit. Those things are more interesting. Cunha, he literally said Cunha can play in multiple positions, versatile. Like, I like that. Xerxes, kind of included Xerxes in the list of striker options as well. What does that say about our priorities in the market? Are we counting Højlund and Xerxes as the strikers? Cunha counting maybe as a striker as well? Like, those things to me are more interesting than just the throwaway standard managerial comments about, I'm happy with the squad, kind of thing. Like, those are the kind of things people should be more interested in personally. But it is what it is. Ski, welcome. Is it Ski or Sky? Let me know. He says, we're going to suffer this season too. I mean, it is. And we've said this many times. Not just based on what Amorim has said in terms of, like, suffering, but we've said, I've likened it to a bow and arrow. When it comes to going forward with a proper rebuild, you've got to go backwards to go forward, like a bow and arrow. Rebuilds don't happen overnight. Rebuilds usually start with a year or so of, okay, we got to clear things out. We got to trim the squad. We got to slowly build to kind of reassess things. That's normal. You've seen that with any club who's undergone a proper rebuild. That's the way it works. Would I love it if we had overnight success? Yes, I would. I'm not saying I don't want it. I'm just saying people need to kind of pump their brakes a little bit and temper their expectations for the season, because I think that anyone who thought that it's this easy to sell players or we're just going to turn around and start winning things, just relax and just enjoy the ride. It's like floating down a river. You can't do anything about it. Just enjoy the ride, really. Devasi says, UK fans thinks he's lying on the age. Probably forgot how Rooney looked at 16. Yeah, or Diego Costa's another one who, I think Diego Costa was born looking like he's like 50 years old. Like, I don't get that guy. So Recap says, this is our season. Trust me. I like your optimism. I really do. Be sure to come back when this transfer window closes. Dylan and I will do a transfer window rating, and we'll give our predictions for the season based on how things go. So I hold off on that until after our business is done, though. So Ski says, I didn't like the way one journalist asked Cunha about why he chose United. These people are really forgetting who we really are. Can't wait for our comeback. Yeah, I mean, Mbeumo, Cunha, they've kind of said the same thing. This is the club that they wanted, both of them. I mean, Cunha agreed to join before the Europa League final, so he pretty much agreed to join before it was even a given that we were going to be getting any sort of European football. Mbeumo has literally started the summer saying no to every other club besides United, but nobody wants to talk about that. Everyone just wants to report the highest possible fee that we could pay for someone. So what it is. Lucky says, I think Joshua Xerxes is fine. Yeah, we'll see. He's training a little bit on his own right now with some other players who are struggling with some injuries. But so, yeah, again, the press conference, let's all just pump the brakes a little bit on some of that stuff that people seem to be getting rage about. We kind of this is what managers do. No one's going to come out and just say, no, I don't want this player. I'm not happy with this, unless your name is Jose Mourinho or Antonio Conte, basically. So moving on for a little bit, you guys, make sure you're hitting that like button. Make sure you subscribe to the channel as well, you guys. It does help the channel. It does get everybody closer to that 3K giveaway. Again, if we get there before the season starts, brand new 25-26 United shirt for the winner. So how about some updates from Romano to kick things off too, because I'm sure you guys all saw that thumbnail and you wanted to talk about this. So this is coming from Romano. It was one of his most recent videos. So Manchester United in recent hours had direct contact with Aston Villa. There was a club-to-club conversation, and the answer from Villa is that they want to keep him in this case, meaning Ollie Watkins. So if you guys didn't catch that video yesterday, I did a pretty big deep dive video on Ollie Watkins versus Benjamin Sesko. Those seem to be the two strikers that a lot of United fans have kind of narrowed down as their favorites for whatever reason. Everybody's entitled to their preference. It is what it is. I took a look at both those players because it is pretty known that we are interested in Ollie Watkins. There was a lot of rumors coming out that we're looking at Premier League personnel in terms of strikers and whatnot, which I don't have a problem with. The problem is just what's left in the Premier League to choose from. And you guys know I don't have a problem with Watkins at all. I actually think he's a good striker. I just don't want to pay the fee that's being floated for him. He's not a 60 million pound striker. He's just not. Even on his best day, even if this were like at his peak, he's not a 60 million pound striker. Like, we have to start getting this transfer window and the spending back into reasonable levels. Like, done with the Mbappe, the Neymar, this kind of junk. Like, it needs to get back to a normal level. I mean, Gyökeres literally just went for a little bit more than that. Like, there's levels to this. Come on. So, but I don't know what you guys prefer, what your striker is. You can let me know in the chat or go check out that video last night if you guys want to learn a little bit more about Šeško and Watkins in terms of numbers, heat maps, percentiles, profile, all that kind of stuff, what systems they'd be good in. Go check that one out. But I saw too on TalkSport, Gabby Agbonlahor was very, very quick to exercise a bit of delusion on this one. He literally called it a step backwards, going from Villa to United. Gabby Agbonlahor, man, never. Is it weird though that like hearing Gabby say that, like, it makes me want Watkins a little more now, like just to boil Agbonlahor piss, almost like the petty little bitch in me wants to just like get him and then just bench him and never play him, just so Agbonlahor would just sit there like this, just bitter beer face every single day. Gosh, it would be so hilarious. But yeah, we know Villa do have their own kind of PSR issues, just like us. And they do need to sell some players. They already have a very, very thin squad. Fair play to Unai Emery for doing what he did. I think they really took advantage of the loan system last season, which is exactly how that's supposed to work. You need a little help sometimes. You don't have the funds. You look around, see what's available. We could do the same thing with like Kanjin Lee or somebody who's maybe on the peripheral. Maybe we don't have the funds. Maybe do a loan, maybe with an option. There's options out there. I've seen some people float around the idea of doing that for Šeško. I know Romano claimed that we've done that with Emi Martinez recently. We asked for that on loan, but then apparently Villa just rejected that idea outright. But this is Romano's like, just, I don't know if it's just a lack of sleep because the guy is always putting out content and whatnot, but he literally called Emi Martinez one of the best, if not the best in the world. And I'm like, bro, what are you smoking, dude? Oh man, it's so funny. Days is he's a proper clown. Yeah, he's an absolute. And the funny thing is like he kind of ruined it now. I can laugh about it now, but like Gabby Agbonlahor has already come out in the past and said like a lot of what he says, especially about United, he doesn't actually think it. It's just basically to get clicks. It's basically a persona. He's not. It's like he's acting almost, and so it is what is like a bug in here. Weird. Dubai says, I just bet with Ian that Watkins won't be consistent. Well, Watkins he's been consistent. He's just, it's just not the levels that I would want for, especially not for someone if they're going to ask for 60 million pounds. That's ridiculous. Whoever loses gives 10 memberships. Hey, big up, man. We'll have to wait and find out. But if y'all want to have that bet, if we sign Watkins and someone wants to give 10 memberships, go for it. I appreciate that. Nota says, I like Watkins because he's proven in the league, but I don't think we'll get him unless we swap Garnacho. Yeah, we talked about that a little bit in that video too. Kind of doing a swap, but like a transfer swap and not like a swap where, we give them whatever 50 million, they give us 50 million. Garnacho goes one way, Watkins goes the other. So everybody's getting money on paper, so nobody suffers PSR wise. Everybody actually looks really good PSR wise. Villa look like they get some profit, we get profit. But I've seen that floated around, which wouldn't be the worst thing in the world. Like, I think that would probably be the best fit for everybody. Problem is, if Villa do that, they still don't really have a striker. So maybe they'll need to go. Maybe they should go get like Calvert-Lewin or Vardy or something. They could go get Calvert-Lewin and Vardy for free, and they'd have two strikers. I mean, albeit probably not combined anywhere as good as Watkins, but it's not my club, not my problem at that point. So Debasi thinks Mateta is better than Watkins. We looked at this the other day. So Mateta is older than I thought. I thought Mateta was like 26. He's actually like 28. And then, because Dylan, when we were doing the kickabout on Wednesday with Dylan, I was trying to look this up. So Mateta has had one decent season pretty much. He's 28. He just turned 28. He literally had like one decent season, and his numbers are basically the same as Watkins. 14 league goals last year, 16 league goals the year before, and that's literally it. The last time he scored double-digit goals in all competitions even was when he was at Mainz in 2021. So I'm not convinced that Mateta is good. He could be a late bloomer. I'm ready and willing to admit maybe he could be a late bloomer if he has another decent season. Like, and I say decent as in like 14 league goals as 28 to me does not scream difference maker. Like, but that's just me. It is what it is. Everybody's going to have a little bit of a preference. Maybe some people think with Cunha and Mbeumo we don't need a 20 goal in the league striker. I still think that that's what you'd want. I think any team at the top competing for the top is going to need a striker that can put away at least 20 league goals, if not 30 in all comps minimum. If you're in 4 competitions, that should be the bare minimum. If you consider yourself tier 1 striker like a Gyökeres or an Osimhen, it should be minimum 30 goals in all comps, 20 in the league minimum. That's what my standards are when it comes to tier 1 strikers. Y'all let me know when it comes to tier 1 strikers, the top class strikers, what's the minimum goals you need to see in the league? What's the minimum goals you'd expect to see in all comps? I want at least 20 in the league, 30 in all comps, and like at least a half a dozen, a handful of assists in there as well, because you got to be able to do a little bit more. So Notas says Talk Sport would collapse if it didn't produce clickbait. It's true. It is true. But it is what it is, man. You just have to laugh sometimes. So Danny says 100% Mateta, good season. Yeah. And it's got the Ekitike written all over it. Like, you guys know, and again, maybe it's just me. Maybe I'm a little conservative, a little hesitant to overhype players after one season. And I fully understand that you can't always be too hesitant when it comes to young players, especially because they could have another season and they'll be even more expensive. You do kind of have to roll the dice sometimes. I just think the Ekitike fee is absolutely ridiculous. And it's ridiculous that the Ekitike and Liverpool might want Isak. Like, at what point do they have to start thinking about PSR? Because they've spent literally almost $500 million if they get this Isak thing over the line. It's absolutely ridiculous. It's ridiculous, man. Dubai said Watkins last season 2-12 against the Big Six. Mateta 5-12 against the Big Six. Yeah, we definitely don't want any flat track bullies. But I mean, goals in general would be great. Just goals. So goal scoring was definitely the biggest issue we had last season. We just were misfiring left and right. Too many strikers kind of at the collective downward in the ebb and flow. Too many attackers kind of all struggling at the same time. So it is what it is. What are you guys saying in the poll so far? So still 85% of you say no, you would not have gotten Isak instead of Cunha and Mbeumo if Isak had become available earlier. Andreas, welcome back. For competing in all comps, you need an attacker who scores around 30 goals, as you said. Yeah, that's just my minimum. Like, for me to compete, for me to consider you like a top tier striker, and for me to consider you the kind of striker who's literally going to be a difference maker in terms of challenging and stuff, that's the minimum for me. You're looking at your Harry Kanes, your Lewandowskis, your Haalands, these guys. That's what you need. I just don't know if we're quite there yet. I don't know if the striker market has any tier 1 strikers left in it that are available. I think there are some that are close to tier 1 that are in tier 2. I would consider Pavlidis, if you just look at his numbers, tier 2. That would be that's just my opinion, though. Y'all, Jimenez, I would think, is kind of maybe a little below Pavlidis because it's just so. Those are probably Gonçalo Ramos. Maybe is pushing like top tier 3, close to tier 2, if that makes sense. It's my system. It is what it is. But y'all, let me know what you think there. But the boss says North Carolina has made first, or Newcastle has made first bid. Wait for Šeško now, so that bridge is gone. I mean, I'm not convinced on Šeško personally. I just don't think that he's that good. I think he might be plateauing, and I think that he's a little one-dimensional. But again, my opinion, Debasi suggests Ramos on loan. I like Gonçalo Ramos. I think he just made a bad decision going to PSG when he did, because when he plays, his numbers at PSG are actually really good. We did that video earlier in the week looking at top strikers. He was on that list. I broke down his numbers and things like that, percentiles. Go check out that video if you want to learn about like 10 strikers who, nobody's talking about who maybe could be a difference maker, who wouldn't cost a lot. Arokadere, these guys, Joe Perreault. Did another video on young strikers too, the 18, 19, 20, 21-year-olds that are maybe not ones that you're going to look to lead the line, but ones that maybe are worth a punt in order to kind of start developing young and see what they can do as a rotation option. Danny says, Ramos loan with an option, wouldn't be against it. I've read that Benfica are trying to bring back João Felix. If they need money, I mean, we'll be happy to take Pavlidis, man. Throw us a bone here. We'll give you Pavlidis. We'll give you Anthony. We'll give you whoever you want, man. I'll take that action all day. But I like Gonçalo Ramos. I think that, a Portuguese connection wouldn't be a bad thing too between Bruno Dallo as well. So Debas says Ramos has been hungry since Ronaldo's still there. Yeah, he came into a PSG side with Mbappe, Messi, Kolo Muani. Like, it was always going to be difficult to get into that team. So I think that I like him a lot, Gonçalo Ramos. So it wouldn't be the worst. Wouldn't be the worst. So, but let me scroll down here. My thing here. I'm gonna take Watkins. Danny says Pavlidis 50 million plus. Yeah, if he was still at Akmar. Like, if he hadn't gone to Benfica a year ago, Danny, we'd be having a very different conversation. I would literally be flying to Carrington to knock on Jason Wilcox's door and be like, what are you doing? Fact is, he went to Benfica, though. So you know that Benfica, they always get their money, Benfica. That's just their job. So what are you going to do? I'm going to take Watkins off the screen for a second and roll on to because you guys love seeing me here. I've got a couple scouting reports for you guys today, too, so keep watching. I gave you a sneak peek of one, so you probably know, but I actually got two for you. And so I'll just say about the next one, keep an eye on it. This guy could be the next Baleba, so we'll talk about it. So, yeah, Debasi, Vangelis Pavlidis, very good striker. He and Jimenez were kind of going head-to-head for Golden Boot in the Eredivisie a couple seasons ago. If you look at Pavlidis' numbers over the last 4 seasons, he's literally got like 100 goals combined. So he's an absolute monster. Danny says should have signed him last summer. People don't talk about him because he's Greek, and I'm not trying to be offensive to Greek players, but it's just not, for a lot of people, it just doesn't seem like one of those nationalities that gets a whole lot of play in terms of international football recognition. So, can anyone name me some other Greek players? I was thinking about this the other day. The ones I can think of immediately off the top of my head are Samaras, right? And Socrates, who I really liked. Kostas Manolas, who was a defender in Serie A for a while. I liked him a lot. I just can't think of any more. Is Vlachodimos Greek? Someone let me know. Solis Greek at Club Brugge? I think he might be Greek. I'm going to look it up now. Solis Christos, yes. So that would be another one that I like too. So big up. Elite Baller, welcome back. Kat Saranas, yes. Papastopoulos, Socrates, Papastopoulos. I don't remember how you say his last name. That's why he just said Socrates on his shirt. Yeah, there's a lot, man. One square fall, then get in. You guys are funny. Douglas Luiz did not show up to Juventus training apparently this week, according to Fabrizio Romano. So he even went as far as to say that relationship between Douglas Luiz and Juventus is broken, which is a big, big claim. Apparently, he's going to be disciplined for not showing up, basically forcing a move. But would you guys still take Douglas Luiz at United? You guys know I like Douglas Luiz. I do not like the injuries that he's picked up since he's joined Juve. And so I'm just done with injury-prone players. I just am. I can't help it. I know it's not their fault, but I just can't deal. No point in buying a player if their chances of them getting injured is going to be high. So, Debas says, I haven't been following Greek players since Papadopoulos. Yeah, I don't follow them, but there are a few of them out there that are actually pretty decent. Bandomac, welcome back. Bandomac, good to see you again. Is he? Yeah, he is Greek. Vlachodimos, yeah. So I just named like half a dozen off the top of my head, so that's not bad. I guess that's pretty good. Elite Baller wants to know how much faith you have in this manager. I mean, I think that we have to balance with what we've seen with what we know. And what we know is that he's young. This is a big step up for him. He's got a big job ahead of him. He jumped into a club just like Ten Hag that was kind of in a mess. But what we have seen him do, both at Sporting, what we have seen him do in Champions League as well, and what we've seen him do so far in terms of just changing the culture. I like what I see. And at the end of the day, I always revert back to every manager deserves time. He's only been here, a little more than half a year in terms of competitive managing. So this is his first preseason. We have to give him time. And he has to be backed, not only with getting rid of some of the players who aren't going to be along for the ride, but also bringing in the right players as well. He has to be backed and he has to be given time. But you let me know what you think. You guys, Elite Baller wants to know how much faith do you have. Let me know. Lucky says I don't mind any midfielder. We've got a lot of midfielders. Lucky, it's going to take a minute to clear this out. Douglas Luiz, again, I liked him a lot at Villa. I think he would suit us like a glove. He still would if it wasn't for those injuries. We've got like almost half a dozen center midfielders though, and it's really difficult. DeBasi says beggars can't be choosers. I think we can. I think we can, because what we don't want to do is fall into this trap of just signing anybody just because we need somebody. We have to be a little bit more patient, a little bit more calculating. We have to build, not buy. And if it's the wrong player, then it's the wrong player. It doesn't matter how big the need is in midfield. If it's the wrong player, it's the wrong player, whether that's injuries, profile, age, attitude, wages, price, whatever that is. If it's the wrong player, it's the wrong player. So that's just my opinion. Like he says, you can't pick, choose what you like. DeBasi's still voting Hackney. You trying to get on my good graces? Because it's working. You guys know I like me some Hayden Hackney, dude. Elite Baller says, yeah, I'd take Luiz, but we still have Bruno, Manu, Casemiro, Ugarte, and Collar. And Mount. Don't forget Mount can probably play in a deeper role if needed as well. So it is what it is. Bandomax says, yes, has been a while. Been avoiding all the hand wringing over Mbeumo. Everyone panicking was driving me crazy. Yeah, it was. I mean, we're used to it. For a lot of that stuff, like to start the show today, like a lot of the people raging about some of Amorim's comments in the presser, like to me, I've gotten to a point now where it just kind of goes in one ear out the other. I just expect it. I know that makes me sound kind of arrogant or elitist or judgmental. It's not. It's just, I know what social media is like, and nobody, I mean, how often do people go on social media to say positive things? Like, let's just be honest. It's not a very positive place. It's pretty much just toxic. So I think that the X symbol should be right in the middle of the word toxic. That would be ideal. Danny says loan with options. So Danny's doing all the loan options out today. We got loan for Gonçalo Ramos, loan for Douglas Luiz. If we loan Douglas Luiz and he can stay fit, I wouldn't say no to that. It's just a matter of if he can stay fit. By the time that loan ends, Casemiro will walk away for free. Douglas Luiz would kind of come in and fill that role a little bit. It's just got to stay fit, man. ITN, welcome to the channel. Good to see a new face. Says there's no faith ultimately. 5 at the back formation, poor coaching on field. Can't improve any player or tools he's got. Just express what you see. Yeah, and I've been very critical as well of a lot of the decisions that Amor has made in terms of team selection and substitutions and whatnot. So it's not like I've just ignored a lot of that. You guys have been following the channel. I think he had a big role to play in that final with the team that he put out there. I think that was a big part of it. So I've been very critical. You guys know that. And so I've said many times that managers are going to live or die by team selection more often than not. So I don't have a problem with the formation. I don't have a problem with the system. I don't have a problem with the mental shift he's trying to get in terms of tactics and attitude. I don't have a problem with that. The system is just going to demand more of our players. It might require a different profile of player, a better caliber of player. That is what it is. We can't complain about the players for so many years and then turn around and say, like, we have to suit them with the system. We got a manager who plays the system. This is the system he plays, expecting him to change or asking him to change or getting mad when he doesn't. It's just kind of a waste of time, honestly. I'm not saying don't talk about it, but it's not going to happen. So it is what it is. So, Elite Baller says if Sancho, Anthony, and Garnacho don't leave, well, according to Amorim, I mean, he says he's going to welcome him back. We'll see if that's just manager talk or not. But because Garnacho, I think bridge is burned for a lot of fans with Garnacho personally. Bridge is burnt for me. I just don't like his attitude. It's a fool me once kind of situation. The kid he can't stay off social media. He's constantly flipping off cameras. Like, dude, what happened to the professional part of professional football? Or like, I get you're young, but dude, you can't do that shit, man. So I would like to see him gone. Malacia, Anthony, I don't have a problem with Malacia or Anthony. They just are not good enough. So it is what it is. Oh, what do you guys say? Debasi says if Mount plays, yeah, I don't know how he got that number 7 shirt. It's really annoying, man. Um, Elite Baller says the attitude mentality of players has improved. Yeah, I like that we're seeing a shift. I think that, you know, the mentality, there was no resilience in the squad. You know, there was poor mentality. No one shows a whole lot of initiative on the pitch in various situations other than maybe a select few players. And the problem is it's been allowed to go that way. That trickles down from the top. When there's no ambition outside of top four, when top four is the goal and it comes down from the top that, you know, managers are sacked if they don't get top four. Players give up when top four is out of reach. And we've seen it over the years. Players give up when we concede a goal. I'm done with it. And so I don't mind taking a few years if it means we reset that culture in the dressing room. So, Elite Baller says Amorim substitutions are way too late. For me, it had more to do with the tinkering with the starting 11 early on. There was like, somebody remind me what their run was. It was a lot of games where it was a different 11 like every time. And I was like, it shouldn't take that long. Like if you took this job, I imagine that you've been following United at least a little bit and you should know by now. Like I'm not of the mindset at this point with these players that everybody gets a clean slate under a new manager. I'm done with that. That mentality is exactly why some of these players from Louis van Gaal are still here. That I'm done with it. Like Roy Keane says, you know, a leopard doesn't change his spots. Some of these players have had way too many chances, and I'm done with it. I seriously am so done with it, man. Rob, big up, man. Yes, do hit that like button. Please subscribe. We are on that road to 3K. We will do a giveaway if we get there before the season starts. I promised you guys I would do that. Brand new 25-26 shirt to the winner of their choosing. I'll go ahead and order it. We'll get that all squared away. Danny says he needs to be back properly, but in my opinion, Amorim won't be here next season, but I hope I'm wrong. I get behind him regardless. Ineos, to me right now, the onus is on Ineos. They made the decisions they made to give Ten Hag an extension, to bring in Ashworth, and then turn around months later and sack both of them. They made the decision to spend big to get Amorim. They gave him an ultimatum in November, now or never. We'll pay extra. We'll bring your coaches. All those decisions hurt us PSR-wise. It's on Ineos now. They can't do all that. They can't, to me, you can't sack Amorim, if he's not backed. You just can't. It would be completely unfair to sack a manager without backing him first. If you get some players, he has a couple of summers to kind of get things under his belt, then you can see what he's about. But we can't complain about the players we have and then complain that Amorim is not getting more out of them. That's just not possible. Anybody who's a teacher, anybody who's got kids, you can't just force this stuff to happen. Anybody who coaches, it's not that simple. It ain't FC 25 where it's all on you to click the buttons and make the players do what you want. It just isn't. How are you going to get Harry Maguire to go and attack a set piece ball when we're defending a corner? That's a mentality thing. How are you going to get Rashford to actually commit to 50-50s? That's a mentality thing. You can't just put your hands in someone's brain and make them do stuff like that. It's not simple. People say, well, that's the coach, it's your manager. It is not that simple. Trust me. It is deeper than that. This is why clubs really need to prioritize mental health, sports psychologists and stuff. Just saying, United, I got my CV right here if you want to take a look at it. Danny says, unless Amorim switches or tweaks his system, it could be a long, horrible season. Again, he basically has the same squad as last year. I mean, Danny, you and I are on the same page in terms of some things that can be done that don't require any sort of tactical shift or whole lot of stuff. You and I have suggested a 3-5-2. It's probably never going to happen, but he has done that in the past when he's coached in Portugal. 3-5-2, I think, is a better way to kind of make up the midfield battle with bodies instead of relying on character traits that the players just don't have. You've got really good kind of dynamic attack in that too with Mbeumo and Cunha. You don't have to worry so much about a striker being the focal point when you look at the strikers that we have, for instance. So, and it's not a major tactical tweak, rather it's Bruno and Mainu, or Bruno and Casemiro, or whoever you want to put as the eights, and Ugarte or Casemiro sitting deeper. It's really not hard. So, but it is what it is. So, Elite Footballer says can never predict Amorim's lineup. Yeah, that was one of my biggest criticisms, man. It's just just pick your best 11 and stick with it. And it's up to the rest of the squad to prove themselves. you're managing for your job here, man. Like, it is what it is. Debasi says, why didn't Ten Hag take Onana? Because they can't afford him, and that's just the way it is, man. Nota says, Ineos won a stage in the Tour de France today. Hopefully a good omen. My uncle watches Tour de France. I don't watch Tour de France. It is what it is. No judgment, no offense or anything. It's like NASCAR for me. Like, I can't watch like racing like NASCAR. If I wanted to go watch cars drive in a circle that many times, I would go to the mall on Black Friday and watch people try to find a parking space. Like, I don't have any interest in that. It doesn't make any sense to me, but it is what it is, man. But yeah, my uncle's big into Tour de France. It would be so funny. They live in Louisiana, and I'd be down there for like the summers watching it, and he'd just watch it like the way I watch football. He's like getting excited, getting hype. Someone will go like past, and he's like, "Oh, there he goes," and I'm like, "He's riding a bike, bro." I don't get it. Little kids just did that right outside your door. They just went down the street. Same thing. It is what it is, though. No offense. It's just funny to me. Sports, right? Sports are interesting. Tobias says our players are weak. I mean, they can be for sure. They can definitely be weak for sure, man. I agree. Getting caught up on the chats here, y'all, so don't worry. ITN says the only thing with the same squad basically as last season is we have no Europe, so few games. Casemiro and Ugarte can probably manage okay. Yeah, and we still are stuck with the same squad because we pay these players too much. Nobody can afford them. They don't want to leave. They don't want to take a wage cut. And because we do that, we lose money because they're walking for free or we're selling them for a loss. And again, PSR, we can't. It's a never-ending cycle. It's Ineos or again, just the can's been kicked down the road so many years, and Ineos are just the most recent people in line to have to keep kicking it. It's just the way it is, dude. Danny says, Lamens didn't play today for Antwerp, saying injury, but who knows? So today's segment of Don't Give Me Hope is brought to you by Danny B, because don't do that. Don't give me hope. You guys know how weak and fragile my emotions are when it comes to these players from the Belgian league. Like, there's already one. We can't even speak his name anymore on the channel because it'll make me cry. Nobody wants to see me cry unless I watch The Lion King, because then you're just going to cry no matter what. It's The Lion King, whatever. So, but that is interesting, Danny. Big up for letting me know about that. Obviously, a lot of friendlies going on. Some leagues are even going on, like Brazil, Norway. Like, these leagues are actually going on. So if anybody wants to go watch Ivan Helens, who we were linked with, the center back, he plays in Norway. So Manomek says a lot of it was the players like Scholesy, Kino, and new signings would soon find out what standards were expected in training. Yeah, because standards have been allowed to drop. And just because for the longest time we backed players, not the manager. We bought 4 managers, kind of, but it wasn't like the managers were backed. We just didn't have a plan because the people in charge were just not good at their job and they weren't qualified for it at all. Nota says, nice scenery in Tour de France, my main interest. Interesting. Danny, why are you lying, bro? What are you doing? Danny got my hopes up. Strike one, Danny. Well, hopefully, maybe we're making a move. Word on the street is we made a move. So Rob wants to know what goalkeeper will start tomorrow night. It's probably going to be Bindier again. Maybe he'll flip it around this time and start Heaton, but I imagine it's going to be Bindier. So the old guy. All right, so let's keep going here. What we have next here on the list. I got my notes here. I saw a report from a French outlet that I've never heard of called Les Eclairs. Reportedly, French side Troyes, who are in Ligue 2 now, to be French about it. So apparently that's the team that Mbeumo was at before he joined Brentford. But apparently they are going to receive around £7.8 million for Mbeumo's transfer, basically sell-on clause. And then that's a combined. So that's like $6.5 million plus like a little more than $1 million for like the training compensation, kind of like what we paid for Aiden Heaven, that training compensation. So he joined Troyes as a 14-year-old. He spent a couple of years there in the reserves, and then he jumped over to Brentford later on after coming through the first team. So it kind of makes sense now why Brentford's asking price was a little higher than maybe Mbeumo's worth, because again, we know when there's sell-on clauses, these clubs that are selling those players are not getting that money. It's coming straight off the top. That probably has a lot to do with it. So I thought that was interesting, a little bit of probably why the Mbeumo fee was a little higher than it probably should have been, because they were going to immediately lose almost £8 million off of it. So maybe mathematically, if you really want to get your cognitive dissonance in line, just imagine that we paid $8 million less, and that's really the fee that we paid for him. We're basically just paying Twa as well. So yes, please keep smashing the like button. Most importantly, subscribe if you are new. We are on that road to 3K and the giveaway if we get there before the season starts. So, but I thought that was interesting. I don't know what you guys think about that. Are you still do not care about the fee anymore? You have to think that had something to do with it personally. So big up, Matt Hatter. Good to see you again. Welcome back. Hope you're doing well. Katu, welcome back again. Katu Shaw is definitely staying, and if he miraculously stays relatively fit, he'll be a starter. Ruben loves him. Well, we'll see. Again, don't read too much. In my opinion, don't read too much into what a manager says, like stuff like that in press conferences. But Shaw's only position that he can really play in this system is going to be left center back, and maybe he'll have a chance to show something with Leach's injury. He's probably the senior left center back, but still I'd probably start Mazraoui on the right and Yor on the left and DeLitt in the center, no matter who's fit. So it is what it is. So, but we'll see what happens. Talking about Anthony a little bit, this is coming from Lyle Thomas with Sky, claims that 2 Saudi clubs are interested in Anthony, and he's taking time right now to choose his next destination. According to Lyle Thomas, Anthony prefers to stay in Europe. Obviously, we know he would maybe want to stay in the Spanish league. He seems to have adjusted really well to that league. Betis are interested in him again, like we said earlier, but apparently he would be open to the Saudi league. It seems like he's not in the plans. Amorim, again, kind of said the same thing. If they're still here because we don't get a good price, we'll welcome them back. He's being very diplomatic about that. He's not making it personal. He's just saying the plan is to sell them. We have a certain price we need to get. They don't get it. Obviously, they're going to be here. It is what it is. It's just facts. It's just the way it works. So, but honestly, if a Saudi club bought him, man, we'd probably only get like 20 million because we just don't seem to have any luck at all when it comes to getting fees for the Saudi league. I forget how much Eric Bailly went there for. It was like peanuts compared to what some of these other players are going for. So, at this point, though, I'm done. I think we probably just know that we're not getting money back for Sancho or Anthony. So just get him out of here, get those wages off the books. And so Agile says, why are we getting Shaw questions in the press conference? I mean, you kind of answered the question yourself. It's a press conference. This is the reason I don't talk a whole lot about pressers in like the match previews and the match reactions during the season, because most of it is nonsense. It just is. Like I said, there was a little bit that Amorim had to say about Cunha being able to play multiple positions, Kavi needing to work on pace a little bit, Xerxes being listed as one of the striker options. Those things to me were interesting to hear. The other shit I couldn't care less about because it's just throwaway stuff. Elite says confident in getting Watkins. I'm not 100% confident that we will get a striker. Danny had a really good idea. I wouldn't say no to Gonçalo Ramos on loan, but I just don't know if it's going to happen. I wouldn't mind it. I think that we fail to utilize the loan market so much at this club. But the only time you really see us get loans is in an emergency situation, like Reguilon, Weghorst, Sabitzer. We don't really utilize it that often. Igalo was another one. Like, we're not creative in the market. I'm hoping Ineos will maybe try to take a different tact, look more at people entering the final year of their contract maybe, and start doing deals in January for those players, like we should have done with Marcus Thuram instead of getting Weghorst. But that's just me. But I like to see us do something. Danny says Saudi, 30 mil, get him going. I think that get him gone part is just all I care about at this point when it comes to Anthony. Just get him gone. Again, nothing personal. Anthony's not really had any issues like Rashford, Sancho, or Garnacho, but he's just not good enough. It just is what it is. So, like he says, main thing, players need to stay fit. Yeah, it's always bittersweet, these preseason tours. Some people will ask me, am I going to go to any games? No. The closest one to me is in Chicago. That's like a 3-hour drive, and the tickets are like crazy. People complain about match tickets in the UK. Like, tickets for anything here in the US, even these preseason friendlies, are insane. Like, I'm not even probably even bother looking at World Cup tickets for next summer because they're going to be $700 a piece. It's just rough, man. So, Agile says, be happy with Gonçalo Ramos. I like Gonçalo Ramos. I liked him a lot at Benfica. He was a baller at Benfica. Again, just bad move to PSG. Not the right club, not the right time. But it is what it is. Debas says, happy you didn't mention Welbeck because he's only good against us. Yeah, Welbs loves a goal against his old club, doesn't he? So Anthony, Saudi club, maybe. What do you guys think we could get for Anthony if a Saudi club? It really depends on the Saudi club. We saw that Nam club was the only one I saw linked with Onana. Maybe they're starting to kind of build up a little bit and try to get on track with the rest of those big Saudi clubs. Maybe they could do something. But yeah, Anthony, it's just not going to work. So, all right, let's change things up. I'm going to get water because I'm going to be talking a lot here for the next couple minutes because I've got not one but two scouting reports for you guys. Starting, it's not moonshine, it's just in a mason jar because that was all the rage a few years back. Remember that when everybody was going farmhouse in the US? Danny says 25 to 30 if we're lucky. Yeah, I would, honestly, anything, Danny, above like 15, around 15, 20, just take it. Just take it. At this point, just take it. We're not making anything back for him at all. It was always going to be a loss. That was our fault for paying that much. It's not Ten Hag's fault. You can say Ten Hag got it wrong player-wise, but the fee was all on us as a club. Benamex says, Bruno money for Anthony would be good. Well, I want whatever you're smoking because you must be living a good life right now if that's what you think's going to happen. So let me move this over a little bit. So, all right, let's do a scouting report. This is one you guys have been talking about for a while. It's one that I was watching a little bit this year after he made his move, took a big step up, had a really good season. Let's take a look at Micah Biereth, shall we? Obviously plays for Monaco this year. 22-year-old striker, excellent finishing, really good timing and movement, especially in and around the box. Good link-up play and is really good at high pressing. The guy is just all action, all out. Born the year I graduated high school, so thanks for making me feel old as fuck. So he actually went through Arsenal's kind of academy a little bit, joined them from Fulham. Never really got into the first team, though, at Arsenal. Went out on a couple loans, Reykjavik, Motherwell, Sturm Graz as well. Sturm Graz actually made the move permanent, so they actually gave him his first permanent move. They only paid about $4 million for him back then. But he did put away 9 goals, 3 assists in the second half of the 23-24 season for them. So he actually made a big splash. Vital in Sturm Graz's Cup double that season. He had 15 goals, 8 assists in all comps that season between Sturm Graz and his Motherwell loan. So very good year for such a young player. Made the move to Monaco this past January. So very, very recently. Again, like Jimenez, hard to get players out in that way, but he's bagging like a lot. Like he made Sturm Graz a lot of money. They got like 3 times what they paid for him. Speaking of 3 times though, Biereth wasted very little time making his mark. First senior hat trick just a few weeks after joining Monaco. 2 weeks after that, so mid-February, he got another hat trick. And then just a few weeks after that, he got himself a 3rd hat trick. So a hat trick of hat tricks literally within like a month of joining Monaco is definitely enough to get people's attention. Between Sturm Graz and Monaco last year, Biereth scored a combined 27 goals, 7 assists in all comps. So he had 13 goals, 3 assists at Monaco, 14 goals, 4 assists at Sturm Graz. The guy was just punching above his weight at Sturm Graz. Obviously, it wasn't going to take long for him to get a move. But this guy is just an excellent striker, man. Put the ball in the box, and Biereth will do something. Like, all his 13 league goals were from inside the box last season. Like, excellent. What are you guys saying here? Rob, big up, Rob, always United. Welcome back, man. Good to see you again. Depassi says, yes, now the real part of the stream begins. I'm considering maybe just doing like a separate channel just for these scouting reports, but that's a lot of work. I'm just going to do it all on here. So that just has PTSD with Danish strikers now. Yeah, that's always iffy. That is always iffy. Class of 05, class of 03, actually. So I'm old. I hear a lot of people say I don't look as old as I am, but I am old. Trust me. I feel a lot older when I wake up in the morning. Like I tell everybody, I'm the age that when I sleep good, I know that my neck's going to be fucked up for like 3 days. Danny says worth a gamble. So Biereth ended up 10th in League On last season for goal scorers, despite joining in January. He was 11th for XG. He actually had a better conversion rate during that time than Isaac, Haaland, and Mbappe last year. So he's very good at just putting away those chances. And you guys know I like strikers who just know where the back of the net is. Looking at his percentiles, top 6% for those non-penalty goals. Excellent, all around. Really good touches in the attacking penalty area, progressive passes received. So what that means is he's seeing a lot of the ball in the box, and he's seeing a lot of ball in advanced areas. And then it's that top 13% for interceptions among strikers that I really, really like as well. Doesn't shy away. He's got an above average shot creation as well. But again, it's those goals that you really want to see from your striker. And, those touches in the box combined with goals from inside the box that we talked about, and you look at that heat map as well. Like, this is where this guy lives. Put that ball in the box and he's going to do something for you. What you get is a straight up striker. Very comfortable in the area, as well as playing off the shoulder of defenders. You can see a lot of touches in that final third as well. Think Holland, think Vardy, think Osimhen. These profile as strikers. His timing when it comes to the runs and it comes to the kind of movement he has in the box is next level for a 22-year-old striker. He just knows exactly where he needs to be at any given time. What I really like, too, is he's adapted to like three leagues in the last couple of years and just has taken each one, taken that challenge, grabbed a hold of it, and just stepped up, and he's done it really well. He's not going to be any 9.5s, so none of that action. So don't expect any sort of super, super high-level link-up play, one touch here and there. He can probably do it now and then, but he's a straight-up striker. He just wants to score goals. Like, he just wants to score goals. Like, that's just what he does. Again, only just joined Monaco, but when you look at how quickly that he's maybe moved from club to club in recent years, who knows his availability, but they did extend his contract very quickly. I think it goes to like 2030, so it is what it is. It's going to cost you an arm and a leg. This is the kind of striker where maybe if we're willing to maybe get a loan or find a cheap option, or if we have to be stuck with the players we have for the year, we get a midfielder, a pretty good midfielder now, and you want to go hard for a striker next season, this is one that if he continues to have another season, this is one maybe you go and break the bank for a little bit. And yet another striker that Arsenal let go of too soon. So we can all laugh at that at least. That's always a fun one. Let me see what you guys are saying here in the chat. Danny says 30 to 35 mil. It's going to be more than that, dude. Got an itch on my leg, sorry. He's probably going to cost a bit, especially if he has another season. Again, that's the gamble you take. Now, you could definitely go do something. It's just you're gonna have to do something for Monaco, man. Let him take Højlund or something. I don't know. Lucky says we got to look into keep Malacia and Shaw fit. Well, it's not up to us, is it? It's up to them. Bandomax says, Motherwell, the hotbed of young talent. Yeah, if you're looking at Lennon Miller, it is for sure. You guys know I love me some Lennon Miller. Rob says he's heard this guy's name mentioned a few times, always positive. Yeah, he definitely had a bit of a breakout season for sure at Monaco, and he was only there since January too. But Danny says 100% on his conversion rate. Yeah, the guy's just an absolute baller, dude. Like, for real. Looks like a poacher. He is a really good, he's an old school number 9. Like, I just like him a lot. So Lucky thinks we're going to be buying midfield first. Well, we'll see. We've got a lot of midfielders. We don't have a lot of strikers. So it depends on, we've got a lot of midfielders. So Danny says Camara and Biarritz doing double swoop. I would not be opposed to that, man. I think you send them some players in exchange, man. See what we can do. Wilson, welcome back. That goalkeeper from Antwerp is having a class game. Hope we won't bid for him when the club feels he's a 40 million keeper. Yeah, welcome. You're speaking my language, man. We've been talking about Sen Lamon since we were first linked several months ago. I've done several scouting reports on him. I did another closer look at him earlier, maybe it was last week on the Kickabout show. He would be definitely one to get, and just to have him, so no one else gets him, so you have him, and then you just figure out the goalkeeper situation after that. But he's definitely one to go get. But welcome back, Wilson. Good to see you. The boss says they'll probably get asked for 50 million. Yeah, Monaco, they've had a couple seasons where they were kind of selling players like crazy. Obviously, Martial, Mbappe. People forget that Bernardo Silva came from Monaco. He was actually a right winger at Monaco as well. They've kind of fallen a little bit to the wayside. Who was that manager they had for that one really good season that looked good? Was his name Jardim? Was that his name? Someone remind me. And then it's just not quite worked for him a little bit. So, big up, Jarvis. Good to see you again, my friend. You're just in time for a little bit of a scouting report. We just did Micah Biarritz. I've got one more for you today because I know I promised you guys two. I'm just getting caught up on the chat. How'd you shoot yesterday, Jarvis? I know you were going golfing, so it's too hot for me here, dude. So hot, but big up, man. Debasi says goalkeepers, I think, are least affected by league changes. Yeah, I definitely don't. You guys know I don't really put a whole lot of stock into the whole Premier League proven thing. It's one of those things like it does help, but I don't think that it's a guarantee, and I don't necessarily mean that just because you come from another league that you automatically need like a season to adjust. I just don't buy into it. We've seen a lot of more players, Bruno, De Bruyne, Haaland. These guys don't need to adjust. If you're a good player, you're a good player. It doesn't really matter. So, Tabs again, welcome back. Yes, United. I like Shesko or Isak, Kolomowani, Baleba, Guerra, Martinez, United better. Well, speaking of Baleba, you guys want to meet the next Caicedo, the next Carlos Baleba, the next big thing in midfielders? Let me introduce you to this guy. Hold on one second. Say hello to Ezekiel Banzuzi. I know, right? Excellent. Just literally just joined Leipzig like in April. I think they announced that. Young center midfielder, 20 years old, 6'3", already a big physical specimen. And he's physicality like off the charts. Good box-to-box ball carrier. He wins the ball. He's quick. He's got long legs, big stature. He wins it, carries it up the pitch, makes third man runs. Kind of like what we saw from McTominay a little bit, but just McTominay with just better ball knowledge, basically, and probably quicker too. Good. He's consistent. The guy just shows up week in, week out. Again, ball progression, wins his duels. Excellent player. 3 goals, 5 assists in all competitions last season from the midfield with Belgian side OH Leuven. The kid is just all out energy in the middle of the park. Physicality, ability to progress the ball from his own half into the opposition half. Great asset for any midfield, for any side. 10th in the Belgian league last season for tackles per 90. Really good at dropping deep, launching the attack, starting that initial phase from the defenders. Consistently high tackle rates, good long ball rates, dribble percentage per match. The guy is just excellent. Let me look at this heat map here. So what I did this time is I looked at Banzuzi's heat map from this past season, and I compared it to Merita's heat map under a season under Ruben Amorim to show you how midfielders, how they compared under a Ruben Amorim system. And you can see they're very similar touches in similar areas of the pitch, just inside the channel area, the inside channel in his own half, and just inside the opposition half. Very, very similar heat map. And Merita's a bit older as well, so obviously he's probably going to get on the ball a little bit more. Banzuzi can play as a pivot or as an 8 as well. Licensed to carry that ball forward. He's very good at beating a man 1v1 to create space. Licensed to track back, make recovery tackles, win the ball, make clearances. He can sort of do it all. Really good in the box, too. Really good at just kind of finding space and moving in the box to kind of read the situation and get on the end of something. Sort of like what we see from Casemiro time to time. He just pops up in the right place to score in those moments. Very, very similar to Carlos Baleba. Maybe almost like a quicker, maybe more defensively developed Kavimenu in the way he can drop deep and just carry the ball forward as well. Strength and his long legs really do help him win that ball, really do help him keep it under pressure as well. I'd like to see his passing range improve a little bit, but he's already so good that he's got time to work on that. And depending on the system, it might not be exactly a necessity as well. West Ham, Dortmund were interested. Leipzig wrapped it up in April for like 14 million. He's young. He's got room to improve. Again, just 20. Untested at the top level until now, so we'll see what happens. Maybe a season in Germany will tell us what we need to know. I looked at another heat map for a given match as well, something new I wanted to try out as well. So the first heat map was season. This was given matches. So you can see very, very similar heat maps to what you see in a Ruben Amorim system. This Merita heat map was from a match under Ruben Amorim, I think back in like October at Sporting. This Banzuzi one was from a random match recently. Very, very similar heat maps, touches just inside their own half, just inside that left-hand side. So again, comparing him to the sort of midfielder that plays in a Ruben Amorim system, I think is probably the better way to look at this situation as well. So, and then these are some of his percentiles. Obviously, you're going to see those progressive carries in the top 10%, those take-ons, top 15%. He gets a lot of touches in the opposition box, like I said. Gets into really good positions to receive those passes. But these tackles numbers, these clearances, these aerial duels, the guy's just a physical beast. Think of Sangare maybe at PSV Eindhoven. Think of Edson Alvarez at Ajax. Think of these kind of characters. Good at receiving the ball, starting the phase of attack, carrying up the pitch. I like this guy. Let me see what y'all are saying. Oh, Agile loves to golf with his row. You're in Phoenix? Yikes, dude. My sister used to live, or she live Casa Grande. Is that a thing? Does that sound familiar? She says it's hot. I can't stand summer. I don't like the heat, so I'm over it. Lucky likes Conor Gallagher. I like Conor Gallagher too. That ship has sailed though, unfortunately. Big up, guys. The Boxy says, I have seen this guy. Tall, physical beast. Yeah, he's just a monster, dude. Like, he's just a good player. And so, you guys know I'm always on the lookout for young players. If you guys do have players you like, again, the memberships are the best way to get involved in that. That starting 11 membership does allow you to put those up there. Danny says, we talked about him before, right? He's on my list. I don't know if I might have mentioned him like in passing, as I just maybe one of those moments where I just list a bunch of midfielders who are out there right now. I might have mentioned him. Haven't really done any sort of in-depth analysis on him. So Jarvis says, missed the B-Ref breakdown. We'll have to go back. Yeah, no big boat, man. You probably, at this point, I'm sure everybody knows a lot about him. So big up. The box says his tackles are nasty, but technical. Yeah, he's like, he'll make these tackles, and because he's got they're kind of like Wan-Bissaka tackles, because he's got these legs that just seem to go on for days, man. And he's good. They look sloppy. They look like Casemiro when he goes in for him, but they end up like Wan-Bissaka tackles where somehow you just come up with the ball. It's insane how good his tackling is. Danny says Vavell knows his kid. I hope so. Rob, always United, gifted 5 United versus everybody memberships. Big up, Rob. Absolute legend, man. Good to see the community getting involved and looking out for each other. Big up, Rob. Everybody give Rob a nice thumbs up, a fist, whatever you want to do. Gary got himself a membership. A lot of people got himself a membership. Big up, man. Thank you for doing that. Debasi says, a little concerning about his passing, I think. Yeah. I mean, the fact that he's 20 is what makes me think it's fine, because he can pass the ball. I've seen him make good switches of play. I've seen him make good incisive line splitting passes. It's not the trait I'd say that he's known for. If that makes sense. It's definitely something that I think he can do. And I think that given his role under a given manager in a given system, it might not be something that he's required to do that often. It just depends. Again, what I've said many times, it's more about the system than the club when it comes to signing players. You know, we can say we want this player, that player, but if they play a position that we just don't really utilize on the pitch, it doesn't really matter, does it? Like, it just is what it is. Jarvis says, according to the Sporting fans, Amorim played more expansive in his last years, and the Holman heat map is probably more relevant. Yeah, what Amorim did for Morton Holman was a masterstroke. When you guys saw when we went back and looked at my old scouting reports, when I scouted Holman at Lecce more than 2 seasons ago, he was a straight up like N'Golo Kante. He was just, I'm going to win this ball. I'm going to find a teammate. Amorim, in the system that Amorim plays, took Holman and added another couple strings to his bow, made him a little bit more of an all-around, like almost a complete midfielder. And that's why I have a lot of faith in Amorim. It is a big step up to go from Sporting to United, so we'll see, but we'll see what happens there. I'm just get caught up here. Debasi says, bro is a football team in himself. Those aerial duels are absolute monster, man. Yeah, he's physical. That's what I like about him. He reminds me of just a more like, again, just like almost like the way McTominay plays a little bit at Napoli, a little bit like that. So I like him, just maybe a little bit more defensively and tactically sound. Debasi says, let's go get him. Let's just go get everybody, man. Debasi says he can provide cover to Bruno, who goes out of position. Yeah, he's definitely going to be the guy who basically is going to probably take over for Ugarte. He already looks a little better, Ugarte, especially when it comes to taking the ball off of defenders outside of your own box, beating somebody 1v1 and just driving it forward like 10, 15 yards almost. He's that good on the ball. I'm sure everyone will go watch some comps tonight and some highlights, and you guys will let me know, but it's definitely more developed than Ugarte in that regard. Now, Ugarte's older, so Ugarte's got that experience on him and stuff, that kind of stuff. But I like what I see from this kid. Danny says similar to Stack. Yeah, good player. I like him a lot. The boxes, we get him now. He could be our Ederson for a little less price. And that's the point of this, you guys. Like, that's why I said the next Baleba, the next Caicedo. These are the guys that you get now, so you're not showing up to Brighton in a year or two and shelling out $100 million to get them. Like, this is what good scouting does. This is what good recruitment does. This is what guys like Ralph Ragnick could have done for us. Thankfully, Christopher Vivell is here now. He does have those connections. He does have the experience. It does seem like he has that gift for identifying young talent. And I love to see him utilize his RB connections to get some of this stuff. So ITN says, good info, brother, on the scouting. I'm glad you're not just on this prem-proven analysis most are pushing. There are gems out there for sure. I appreciate that. You guys know I'm a bit of a scouting nerd. If you've been following along, before I did the channel, before I was working with scouting or Stretty News for a bit, I had my own blog, and it was just straight up scouting reports. And we've been going through some of those old ones from 2 seasons ago to see which ones were hits, which ones were misses. But I enjoy it. I've got talent identifications level 1 and 2 with the PFSA. I've got level 1 with the FA. I've got data analysis certifications from the PFSA as well. I do enjoy scouting. I do watch a lot more football than any normal human probably should. I'm not saying I am the know-it-all. I just have that kind of interest when it comes to that. But I do appreciate that. I'm glad you enjoy them, because I could just be, some people could just tune out or mute when I do this, but it seems like you guys are interested. So, and I will say that it is cool sometimes when we do these scouting reports and then months later, other people start talking about him, or months later, these players start getting noticed more, like he who shall not be named at Club Brugge. So we're not going to talk about him anymore. That's the closest I'll get. Rob loves the scouting. I appreciate that, man. I'm glad you guys do. Like I said, if you want to see some of your suggestions, get on there. Go check out the memberships. They do let you suggest, and I'll give you a shout out if I end up looking at some of these players. Trini Red Devil, welcome to the channel. All I know is Amorim speaks with no belief, and he's going to get sacked. After last season finishing 15th, if he thinks we're going to get put up with a terrible season, he's mad. Well, it's all on Ineos at this point. He's got a couple of really top players, arguably some of the top attackers in the Premier League last season. So we should see more goals. Hopefully there's not as much tweaking with the starting 11. Hopefully there is a little bit more in-game management in terms of substitutions and whatnot. Hopefully it's not persisting with players that are just not good enough. I do think that not starting Ugarte against Spurs was a big miss. I do think that not starting Garnacho against Spurs was a big miss as well. But it is what it is. It's like managers are going to live and die by those decisions. He needs to get back, though. We need to clear some of this deadwood. We need to reset the culture in this dressing room. It's not just an Amorim thing. Amorim is a part of a bigger system that we're trying to implement at this club. It's just similar to what Liverpool did with Jurgen Klopp. It wasn't, let's hire Klopp and build around Klopp. It's, this is how we want to move forward as a club. Klopp suits that. Bring him in, and we're all on the same page. That's what we're trying to do. We've seen this kind of attitude shift that the club is going for now. We saw that from Amorim when he got the Sporting too. Some of the toxic personalities had to go. That's part of it as well. So, but he is going to have to do better with team selection one night. He's not infallible. I've been very critical of that as well. So, Tackle Devil says his passing look weak, more development. Yeah, and that's what I said. I just want to see him improve that a little bit more. His pass completion is not like horrible. 82% is not bad. Obviously, comparatively speaking, it's below average. But then there are the outlying factors, like the fact that he is 20 years old. He's very, very young. So a lot of this stuff is going to take time. Some of it could have to do with the system. Some of it has to do with maybe the players around him. Who knows? But he will need to improve as far as I'm concerned. But because, and some players, like you guys know how much I love midfielders, especially who can carry the ball, who don't just win it and then just hoof it or something. Like, it's good to have those incisive passes. It's good to be able to play long range balls. But if you can beat an opposition attacker under pressure on the edge of your own box, create space for yourself, and then drive that ball forward 10, 15 yards, that's worth its weight in gold. And that's what this kid does. I think the other stuff will definitely come with experience, but I do like what he can do. Agile likes his scouting too. Well, appreciate that, you guys. Big up. ITN says, bro, we need you in the United scouting team. No lies. Problem is that there's just so much that I'm not experienced in with that regard. In order to do any of that, you have to have like UEFA licenses and whatnot, no matter what aspect of that. Now, I could join as a sports psychologist. I do have a master's in psychology. I am a mental health professional, but I do have a certification in sports psychology as well. And I am currently enrolled in the PFA's football psychology program. It's a year-long program. So maybe one day you guys will see me now. You won't see me there. But we'll see. That is the dream. So So that was the next Baleba. That was Ezekiel Banzuzi. You guys go check him out. Let me know in the comments after you guys have gone and watched a couple of his compilations what you guys think. But we're going to move on to the rest of the odds and ends. You guys know I like to leave the odds and ends for later on. So you guys don't forget to like that video, please. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button. Remember, I promise if we get to 3K before United's first match of the season, we will do a giveaway, brand new 25-26 shirt of your choosing to whoever wins. You can get a player on it if you want any of these players, or you can just be like the little kid. No, they're all rubbish. I don't know. It's up to you. You can throw some EFL Cup patches on there if you want to. It's your call. So he's on my list too, Agile. Do not let me forget. He is on my list as well. I've got a long list of players. If you guys can see the list of players that I'm still trying to get scouting reports planned for, it would astonish you. You would wonder how I got anything else done in my life. So, all right. So, speaking of some of these other players in the Eredivisie, some random Dutch journalists claimed this morning that Tyrell Malacia has received interest from a Saudi club. And apparently he's considering. I've never heard of this Dutch journalist. Doesn't mean that he's not a nobody. I'm just saying I've never heard of him. So maybe you guys have seen this, but apparently it's a £6 million offer. Honestly, just take it. It's another player that, just like Anthony, like has heart. I get it, but he's just not quite there. And Malacia is older than a lot of people realize. I think he's like 25, 26 now. Like he's not young. He really needs to go. If we want left backs, I mean, we should have just gone Reguilon on free agent or something. I don't know, but Malacia is just not it. It just is what it is. And more importantly, he should just take anything they're offering. We should just get it. And he just needs to go and play. Like he can't just waste his career just sitting on the bench, going on these random loans. Just go find a spot where you're going to start and go play, man. Just do it. It's not that hard. Nothing personal. You were just not good enough. I'm not sure what Ten Hag saw in you. Maybe it was the attitude. Maybe it was the fight. We know that Ten Hag, liked the fitness and whatnot. Maybe he was still looking at you through Ajax covered glasses. I don't know if you guys ever saw that clip from Ten Hag when he was at Ajax and they played against Malacia. There's literally a clip of Ten Hag on the touchline saying, "Who is their left back? He's incredible." It's literally what he said. Maybe he was still fixated on that. I don't know. But there is levels to this, and I just don't think Malacia was the level that we've seen. So Debasi says, how does Leipzig get these monsters? Because they've got a RB Leipzig and the whole Red Bull system, who basically was, that whole recruitment system was built by Ralf Rangnick, is why. They have excellent recruitment policy. They're just good at it. And I'm jealous of it. I wish if we went and got like Brighton scouts or like Benfica scouts or whatever, like that would be worth its weight in gold. That's why I wanted Ralf Rangnick at this club. It's a shame that we just binned him off. It's a shame that Ten Hag didn't want him here. So it is what it is. The boss is probably their scouts see tall, strong players by. Yeah, and I mean they've got a little bit of that pipeline system going on there. They got this. Usually, you get a lot of players going from Salzburg to going to Leipzig after that, and it's just they kind of internally, on paper they're not connected, but let's be honest, they're connected, right? Rob says, think the Dutch journalist is decent when it comes to Malacia. Maybe, right? That's funny. Agile says, I just don't want these types of talents to go to some other Premier League clubs and charge us 60, 70, 80 mil after a season in the Premier League. Well, that's what happens. I mean, how many times have we seen that? Remember when Southampton was making bank like 10 years ago with just basically selling the Kleins, the Schneiderlins, all these guys, the Shaws, everything. Then we've got Brighton, who obviously that's basically their bread and butter. We're just going to sell midfielders for 100 million every year. And that's basically how we make our money. Like that's how Dortmund do it. Ajax do it. Most of the Dutch clubs do it. It's Benfica do it. It's just for some clubs, that is their business model basically. And you really like, it's like you're playing. It's like if you try to road to glory in like FC 25, with like a lower league club, maybe invest heavily in the scouting department instead of buying players. And then you scout your youngsters, you can play those little five-a-sides and then you build them up and you can flip them for profit. That's basically what that is. So, but we'll see. Our devices, our scouts were too many. Yeah, I think we just had to upgrade our scouting department a little bit. We haven't it isn't just a guy with a mug of tea and a clipboard and a flat cap on a foggy Sunday morning out in the middle of nowhere watching a bunch of youngsters anymore. I think that there's always going to be a place for that in some degree, but it's upgraded now. There's the data alone is just like streets ahead of what it ever used to be. So, but yet again, another aspect of this club that hasn't really been touched by previous ownership. So it was just all what's get for the manager. Let's send people who don't have any footballing knowledge to go do these deals. Woodward, Murtaugh, Arnold, I forget who it was, showed up to meet with Achraf Hakimi to talk about a transfer. The guy didn't even know who Achraf Hakimi was. Like these are the people that were in charge of these decisions for us, and we wonder why we're in the shit. Like it's so bad. Tactical Devils, they'll have a report on Antonio Nusa. I looked at Nusa a long time ago when he was still in the Belgian league, and then he made the jump, and then I just figured it almost wasn't worth it at that point to do a scout on Nusa, because I think he went to Leipzig too, didn't he? Sometimes if a player makes a big move before I am able to get to the scouting report, I almost don't see the point. But yeah, Nusa was very, very good in the Belgian league. I liked him a lot. I watch a lot of Belgian football. If you guys know, he who shall not be named plays for Club Brugge. That's just like I love Mo Amora, who was at Union 2 years ago, doing very, really well. I still like Mo Amora, so, but it is what it is. Agile says, I know you mentioned Promise David. I think he's been linked to Fulham and Palace. I think he'd be worth taking as well. Yeah, I put Promise David on one of my videos earlier in the week as well. A lot of good young strikers out there, you guys, a lot of them. What are you guys saying about this Isak situation? I did put that poll in the chat. If Isak had asked to leave Newcastle in May instead of like this week, would you have sacrificed buying Cunha and Mbeumo for him? 80% of you still say no. So it sounds like you guys are happy with that. I'm always going to be happier to get multiple players for the price of one player. You guys know that. That's how I roll. So is he doing good? Yeah. Leipzig haven't really done that well. Obviously, they're not in Europe, but Nusa is a very good winger. I like him a lot. Very quick. Speaking of wingers, Rob Dawson says that he's with ESPN, so take it with a pinch of salt. But apparently Bayern Munich have asked United about Garnacho, basically what it would take, what the conditions, what our terms would be for Garnacho. Now, we've obviously seen all those reports that he wants to stay in the Premier League, so we'll see how that looks. But honestly, if Bayern are interested in him, like he could do a lot worse than Bayern Munich. I mean, I think that would be a good move for Garnacho. Obviously, they were linked with Rashford. They are linked with Luis Diaz now because Barcelona obviously went with Rashford instead of Luis Diaz. Reportedly, Luis Diaz wants to leave Liverpool, but we'll see what happens there. We should be pretty much pushing him out the door, though, at that point, if somebody's interested. 50 million, in my opinion, gets it done. 45 million plus like 7 million in add-ons. Just take it at this point. I'm done with it. I have not done a report on Saibara. He is another one on my list. He's at Eindhoven. But he is a very good player. He had a very, very good year. I know that for Eindhoven, but he was on my list because last year and 2 seasons ago, he had a pretty good year too. And he's definitely he's on an upward trajectory. I think it was like, I want to say like 8 or 9 goals and like 4 or 5 assists 2 years ago. And then last year, just double digits for both, like having an amazing year at PSV Eindhoven. So Debasi says Isak isn't a fan of United. We don't want to sell our homes to buy him. Well, you only sell your homes to yourself if you're Chelsea. So it looks like Andre Onana's recovery is cruising right along. He was pictured back in training, albeit his own individual kind of thing. I think Alicia and Xerxes are kind of doing their separate training, so they're not training with the rest of the squad. But sounds like his hamstring injury wasn't too serious. What is serious, though, is the injury to my heart when I think about Onana starting between the sticks for us next season. I'm done with Onana. You guys know that. I might even submit my invoice for my Peacock subscription to my health insurance so they can pay for my heart medication at this point, man. It's ridiculous. Like it says, we want 45 million plus 5 million Alejandro Garnacho, looking at Aston Villa. Yeah, I don't think if Villa, like I said, I think there is an opportunity for us in Villa to do a swap, but not a swap for Villa and Watkins. It's just they're not like for like in terms of position. So if Villa let go of Watkins, they still need a striker. So it's going to be difficult. But they could go get Calvert-Lewin for free and they'd solve their problem. So that's about the level. But yeah, Onana looks like he's probably going to be back in time for the season. So awesome. Nah. And a bit of random news to close things out. I saw this, and then Dylan let me know about this too. But apparently, Nathan Salt says that apparently Wrexham have made a move for Christian Eriksen, which is super random. The report says that Eriksen, he's impressed by the proposal, but he's just not interested right now. He wants to continue playing at the top level. Still thinks he can play at the top level. I mean, he could probably go back to Ajax, do very well. I think, honestly, Christian Eriksen can do a job for Sunderland. Honestly, recently promoted, get someone like Eriksen on a free Premier League experience, good deep-lying playmaker, can kind of take over that Joe Bellingham role a little bit. Good passing range on him. I think that would be an absolute masterstroke if Sunderland are serious about avoiding relegation next season, personally. But Josh says that cheeky Onana grin. Yeah. So it is what it is, you guys. You guys watching this West Ham friendly tomorrow night? It's at 7 o'clock, 7 p.m. for me tomorrow. I don't know what that is for you guys. Literally midnight in the UK for anybody over there because they're in Chicago. Chicago is, like I said, about 3 hours from me. I used to live pretty close to Chicago. I used to go fishing near Lake Michigan when I lived in Indiana. I can actually see Chicago on a clear day from where I was in Indiana across the lake. So it's pretty cool. But you guys plan on watching that? Anything you're hoping to see tomorrow? You guys hoping to see Mbeumo maybe get some minutes? I'm interested in seeing more of Sekou Kone. I'd love to see, you guys know I'm big on the academy. I'd love to see some more youngsters playing. So Kone, Montato, Kamasen, just throw all these guys in there. I want to see everybody in there. Fletcher. I think it's on MUTV, Agile, so you have to go check that out. I know it's on MUTV, so you might be able to find it on some sort of dodgy stream site, but for me, it's going to be on MUTV. So that's how we watch the Academy games too. I'm waiting for the Academy schedule to be released. Does anybody know when the Academy schedules are released for the under 18s and the under 21s? Dylan and I are trying to see if we can squeeze an Academy match in when we're over there in December, and I'd love to start planning that and maybe get some seats for that. So if you know when those fixtures are usually released for the Academy, let me know. Rob's going to watch highlights, score some goals. Yeah. Again, try not to read too much into preseason friendlies. They're friendlies. It's about players getting used to the system, getting back into fitness. You know, the season is going to kick off here in like 3 weeks. So hopefully, you know, we're getting back up to speed until then, but we'll see how it goes. What's that poll looking at? 42 votes, 81% say no. They would not have taken Isak instead of Cunha and Mbeumo. So, all right, big deal. I'm going to go ahead and end that poll. Thank you guys for getting involved in there. You guys, make sure you hit that like button. Make sure you subscribe to the channel. We are going to be doing that giveaway if we get to 3K before the season starts. Check those memberships as well. If you scroll down a little bit below the video, you will also see some shirts. I threw up a couple shirt samples from the UVE store. Click on any one of those. They'll take you to the United vs. Everybody store. All sorts of one-of-a-kind gear on there. I didn't charge a lot. They're not a lot on there, so check that out. If you want to get $5 off when you register at GoGoalShop, if you want some jerseys and you don't want to give the Glazers any of your money and you don't want to spend an arm and a leg, use the code in the video description and you'll get $5 off if you register. You guys have seen me rock a couple of those GoGoalShop shirts. They are excellent quality. They're like $30 a piece. They've already got this season's away shirt up there, the home shirt. They've got player versions. They've got old retro shirts. I just ordered the 08 long sleeve, the black 07-08 jersey. I just ordered one of those, so I'll show that to you guys when it gets here so you guys can see what it is. So, well, let me know what you guys think in the comments if you weren't able to catch the live. I will hopefully see you guys tomorrow. Of course, if there's any big news, we'll be talking about that as well. Keep a lookout for the next hit or miss video. I've got that one prepped and ready to go. So thank everyone for stopping by. Thank you, Rob, always for gifting those memberships. Absolute legend, top chap. Enjoy the rest of your Friday night, guys. Whatever you guys are getting up to, enjoy it. Stay warm. Thank you, guys. I will talk to you later. See you on the next one.